Russian attacks kill at least 27 people in Ukraine following their declaration of a ceasefire May 8th to 9th to coincide with the Victory Day celebrations. The EU releases a declaration following the first ever Armenia-EU summit in Yerevan, which took place yesterday. And more news of the region, I'm Sophia Marie. Let's get into it. First news on the front lines today, Tuesday, Russian attacks kill at least 27 people across Ukraine. Zelensky called out the, quote, utter cynicism of Putin, saying, quote, it is utter cynicism to ask for a ceasefire in order to hold propaganda celebrations while carrying out such missile and drone strikes every single day leading up to it. As I've talked about before, Russia called for a 2-day unilateral ceasefire May 8th to 9th to commemorate the Victory Day celebrations, which is the Soviets defeating Nazism in World War II. Now, in other news, the EU just released this declaration following the first ever Armenia-EU summit in Yerevan, which took place yesterday, May 4th. Now, you guys have probably seen that video of French President Macron singing with Pashinyan, the Armenian Prime Minister, on drums. So this declaration just released by the EU today emphasized the strengthening of bilateral relations between the EU and Armenia. In this declaration, saying it was a, quote, historic milestone in deepening EU-Armenian relations. The declaration also acknowledged the Armenian people's desire to someday become a part of the EU, with the declaration citing the adoption of the March 2025 law, the law on launching Armenia's EU accession process. Now, in other news, in the UK has imposed sanctions on 35 individuals and entities responsible for recruiting vulnerable migrants to fight for Russia and to also produce drones for Russia in its war with Ukraine. The sanctions minister released the statement today, quote, the practice of exploiting vulnerable people to prop up Russia's failing and illegal war in Ukraine is barbaric. He said that these new sanctions imposed would, quote, disrupt the operations of those trafficking migrants as cannon fodders and feeding Russian President Vladimir Putin's drone factories with illicit components. Some big news from Romania. Today, Romania's centrist pro-European coalition collapsed as lawmakers in Romania's parliament voted to remove the Prime Minister of Romania through a no-confidence vote. So the left-wing Social Democrat Party and the far right-wing opposition Alliance for the Unity of Romanians party jointly submitted the motion to Parliament last week, and then it was voted on successfully today. Now, lots of headlines today are talking about how this will undoubtedly lead to even more instability in Romania, which Romania has already seen a lot of in its political arena.